Question for Coach?
So obviously you're really familiar with Stanford, playing them last year. Ironically, San Diego State won that game last year when Bryce Love had his normal game. This year, holding him to a much below his average. San Diego State actually lost that game. So is it fair to say that the offense doesn't really only run as Bryce Love runs?
Not at all. I mean, and all year long. I mean, statistically they're running for 85 yards a game. That's way below their standard and what they expect to do. So I know with the 10 days that they've had off, I'm sure Coach Shaw is working on that to make sure that they can get back to pounding the football a little bit. I mean, San Diego State did a great job, a tremendous job of stopping the run. They gave up a couple big plays in the pass game, and that's the difference in the game. I mean, they have a chance to make it a 7-point game late, and Stanford stops them on a 4th and 1. This 4th and 1 changed a lot of momentum, and we need to get a couple of those to fall our way. But that was, I mean, big plays. They couldn't cover the big wideouts, and I mean, we're going to be up against that same opportunity. We're going to put enough numbers up there to try and stop the run and see if we can make some plays in man coverage.
Talk about the wide receiver, the right side. What makes him so special? How different is he from other wide receivers in face earlier?
He's super athletic for being a 6'5" guy. I mean, both parents played professional basketball, grew up in Spain. You watch him. I mean, they throw the ball up. I mean, they're big across the board. I mean, both their tight ends are 6'5" and taller. JJ's 6'6", 6'5", a little bit taller than that. They run straight ahead really well, and Costello does a great job of throwing the ball higher than the DB can jump most of the time. And they're coached up really well, so if you turn into them, they grab a hold of you, and they get them to call pass interference on you. I mean, the rules are such in today's game that the offense has all of the advantages. The only advantage you get is we get to hit hard. And you can eliminate some of that by when they try and come down and crack us, because they're going to crack us just like Oregon State did. We'll turn and knock them in the mouth and slow them down a little bit. But he's special. I mean, he can run. He's fast. I mean, he's got long strides, and he goes up and makes competitive catches. And Costello does a great job throwing it where he can get it. So we got a big challenge. Our two guys on the outside have been hearing it for the last 2 weeks. I mean, Chase, he had a tough night against Colorado, and I think Coach White did a great job. And we had a little conversation on the sideline after that last one. You know, I mean, every Saturday, those guys you going against are trying to embarrass you. He's got to understand that. And I hope Saturday was an aha moment for Chase, because he's got a lot of ability. And if he plays well Saturday, Thursday, we'll have a really good chance.
When you talk to your DBs about when they're going to be in position a lot of times, but it's about what happens in that moment of the ball, right? You're in phase, the ball comes in, you have a big guy boxing you out. What's sort of the mindset that you have?
Technique, and I think we do a lot around here of individual and fundamentals, which I think is a lost art in football. We spend every day at least 10 to 20 minutes on those things, and it's all technique. The way you turn into them, the way you play the ball. I mean, if you turn your back to them, those guys are going to push off and they're going to out jump you, and they don't call it. If you turn into them, they're going to throw it taller than you are, so you got to jump up and play the hands and pull the ball out. Now you have to see the ball coming, which we do a lot of work on, and you know, having going out and watching some football games, recruiting wise on Friday night, and then getting an opportunity to watch Stanford on Saturday along with other college football games. The amount of deep balls that are being thrown in college football is unbelievable every weekend. Some guys play them good, some don't. And the only thing you can do is work on it. And we did a lot this week. We're going to try and give our DBs a chance to make that play. If we can get pressure on him, then it makes those throws that much more difficult, and it gives the DBs a chance. I complain a lot about our DBs not making plays in coverage. That's partly because I coach them, and it drives me crazy when something that I have a direct hand in gets exposed. It's not all their fault. I mean, if we don't get pressure on the quarterback and he has all day to throw it, it's a really hard job for those guys. So they just know I hold them to a high expectation, and we're getting better. Week to week, we're getting better. We need to get better a little bit faster so that we can make those plays and the difference to win those games. I mean, the touchdown in zone coverage, I was almost positive when that ball was snapped it was going to be intercepted, because Chase has really good ball skills. If he plays it wrong, it's a touchdown for them. I mean, those are the little things that we're getting closer, but it ain't good enough yet. And we work on it in practice, and soon enough, that switch will click, and it'll be fun.
You haven't generated a lot of turnovers, takeaways. Are you concerned about that at all?
I'm surprised that we don't have more interceptions at this point with only 3. The fumbles, we've got 13 on the ground. We've only come up with 4 of them, I think. That is a little bit of a learning experience. A couple of those we're trying to pick the ball up and score. After Shannon scored in the first game, everybody wants a touchdown now instead of just changing the field. So that'll come with experience. The ball is on the ground and we're getting it out. We just need to get to it and get it, make it ours. The interceptions, we've dropped legitimately 4 that we had in our hands, and then we tipped a couple other balls. Sometimes you get those, sometimes you don't. That's my biggest surprise, is that we don't have more interceptions. 7 through 6 games, it's not even close to what we expect around here. But we'll keep. I don't think there's any magic turnover circuit. I don't think there's any magical thing you can do. I think if you have good players, those things happen. And if we continue to play hard, I mean, they're doing a good job of understanding that. And if they continue to play hard, when that ball's out, we'll end up getting some of them. And we've got an opportunity in 6 more games to see if we can change that number a little bit. Give our offense credit, though. I mean, 2 turnovers in 6 games is phenomenal. And we're still up there. I mean, we're 16th in the country in turnover margin with only taking away 7. Give those guys on the other side of the ball the credit. Now, if we get a few more, we could really help ourselves change the game. I mean, turnovers give you your offense more possessions, and what you can do is you give them great field position. And teams that win double-digit games usually have a lot of turnovers.
Obviously, you're expecting to see Bryce Love and to see the real Bryce Love. You've got to approach this game.
Absolutely. I mean, he didn't play against Utah. He was a little bit banged up after the Notre Dame game. I mean, he busted a couple long runs in that one. He busted a couple long runs against Oregon. He's very dangerous every time he touches the ball. I mean, last year, the school I was at before at San Diego State, we played him. He had 3 carries for 151 yards. The other 16 carries, he had 3. So he's scary. I mean, he's a 4.3 kid that every time he touches it, it can go the distance. So you have to make sure that when you tackle him, you get multiple bodies there, because he will make you miss. He can run around the corner. I mean, then they do a lot of stuff where they get those guys, shoot, it's like elephants on parade. I mean, they're running him sideways trying to give him a little seam so he can cut it up and get vertical, because he's fast enough to do it. So I guarantee he's going to be fresh and ready to go and excited. I mean, he didn't play last week, so he's had those 2 weeks off. National television game, everybody's been, I mean, he came in as a Heisman hopeful. Well, he's going to have a national stage for everybody in the country to watch him, because there's only 1 game on. So I'm sure he'll be fired up. Fires me up.
Costello didn't play against you guys at San Diego State.
Did not.
What does he add to Stanford's offense?
A great arm. Chris, who played against us last year, now Costello played a little bit, but they hadn't made that change yet. I think they made it the week after we played them. The thing that's similar is if you can get bodies around them and get some pressure on him, they tend to make mistakes. We might get bodies around him and he'll light us up. I mean, that goes and comes with the game. But we're gonna take every chance we can to try and hit him. I mean, I thought the last game, I thought Utah did a great job. Utah's playing really good on defense. Notre Dame's got some guys up front that are really good. They were able to get pressure with 4. So over the last 2 weeks, I think the great thing about a bye week after 6 games, especially with a young group, we got to eliminate stuff that we don't do very well. We got to game plan for 2 weeks on a really good opponent, so we can see the blocking schemes a little bit. And now if we come out and play physical and play hard, it'll be a really competitive game. We'll have a chance to win at the end. So I mean, it's exciting.
How big can the bye week be for some of the freshmen on the defense to just have a chance to step back and have a look at the performance in the first half?
Really good, especially for the ones. So we gave them Friday and Saturday off. It's a 45-minute flight to California, or they can drive. Some of them went home and saw mom and dad for the first time. I think that is a lot more helpful than people realize. They go away. They've been here. They got here in June. They haven't seen, a lot of them haven't seen their families at all since they dropped them off. They didn't really have a chance to really I mean, they get homesick and they don't have a chance. They have to get over it because we're so busy and they're so entailed, which helps a little bit. But they still haven't seen mom and dad or eaten home cooking. We had a bunch of them that went home. I think that's great. They can go home and see them get loved and tell them that everything's going to be all right, and then they can kick them in the tail and get them out because mom and dad don't want them to stay. Mom and dad are glad they're gone, but they're good. They're happy to see them for a little while. So it's good to have them back here. I think that'll be really refreshing for them. It's good.
Rob said that, watching what happened in the league just increased the feeling that, anybody can beat anybody.
Coaches are funny. I think so too. I mean, we got 6 games left. We can win all 6. We can lose all 6. We could be 9-3. We could be 3-9. I mean, and we're that close to. I mean, when you have time to do, when you're struggling to win games and 3-3, like I said last week, it's average. You go through that, and unfortunately, there's probably about 10 plays that are the difference between us being 6-0 and being top 12 in the country, and everybody talking about Arizona State being the top of college football, to be an average at 3-3. So as a coach, you go back and reflect and try and figure out, well, what can we do different on those 10 plays? How can we give our kids a chance to be successful? Well, we think we have ideas, and if we can coach them up right, we'll have a chance to win those next 6. You look at the schedule this week, we have Stanford, USC goes to Utah, Colorado's at Washington. All 3 of those games, anybody can win. Okay. Then you look at the following week, we go to SC. And down the road, Colorado still has to go to Washington State. Utah, they still have to play us here. I mean, the South is completely wide open. UCLA played really good the other night all of a sudden. They scored 37 points and only scored 7. I think they caused 5 turnovers. Arizona, they look really good against the second half of the USC game. I mean, they're down 24-0. All of a sudden, it's 20-24, and they have a chance to win the game. So I think and then you've got Colorado, who started out 5-0. They get dinged up last night. SC hurts Chenault. Montez doesn't play as good because they get some pressure on him, and now they win. I mean, SC, they're the most talented group on our side. This is an unbelievable. You watched that game last night. They've got a bunch of really good athletes. They make 12 penalties and turn the ball over 3 times, and they win by almost 3 scores. And they're probably the team that has the head up right now, and plus they've got a 1-game lead. Well, we get an opportunity to go play them, and I promise you, we got a bunch of kids that'll be fired up. So it's wide open now. Like I said, the parity is, I mean, one of those teams could run away with it, and one of those teams could lose 6. So it's really close, but that's exciting. I mean, it's a lot better going into it knowing you have a chance to win everyone than trying to figure out what are we going to do to keep these boys alive. And they're excited. I think that, like I said, the bye week was good for us. We got lucky. It came after 6, so we're right in the middle, and that's as good as planning as you can get. So thank the conference for that.